Hello, I am Q+As, author of speculative fiction, including the Malfunction Trilogy and the Raven Tree Society, and so many more short stories. I am here to talk to you guys today about my trilogy, my science fiction trilogy, that will be concluding very soon. On May 23rd, Connection, the third and final book in the Malfunction Trilogy, will be releasing, finishing up at least 5 years of really hard work. I am so excited to get this book into your guys' hands. So I'm going to be releasing a series of videos to talk about this story. Some of those are going to be just short little videos about the characters. Some of those will be introducing some concepts and some ideas, but most of those hopefully will be me answering questions from you guys, whether that's about this series specifically, or if you just want to kind of get a glimpse into a science fiction author's mind, I'm your girl. So let me tell you a little bit about my series. Some of you guys may have already picked it up. If you have, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. So the Malfunction Trilogy starts out with book 1, Malfunction. It's followed by book 2, Disintegration. I also have 2 novellas out in the universe, and these are prequel novellas. Infraction, which covers the story of one of my main characters' older brothers, and then Revelation, which explores how two of my characters first met. So, what is the Malfunction Trilogy? If you guys are familiar with some of the subgenres of science fiction, you might be familiar with the terms cyberpunk and biopunk. Now that's where I like to categorize this trilogy. Most readers would probably pick it up and say that it's dystopian, but it definitely focuses less on the dystopian aspect and more about the complex relationship between my characters and the technology of the time. So the Malfunction Trilogy is set in a not too distant future where Earth has been invaded by an animalistic alien species that they've termed the Wreckers. Not very scientific, but that's what I went with. So these animals are huge gorilla-like creatures with 4 arms, and they have this ability to be able to use their brain to manipulate their prey into experiencing a lot more fear than is typical for facing something like this. So because of that, they've been very, very successful. They breed like crazy. They've taken over the surface, and the damage has been permanent. The atmosphere has collapsed, and most of the surviving human beings, if not all of them, are underground in a community that I call the bunker, which is basically what it sounds like. So while there are some human beings that survive outside of bunker in the emptied aquifer in which bunker was built, surviving off of air that leaks out of bunker, most of the people surviving are inside bunker under the government that is really focused on one thing and one thing only, and that is making sure humanity survives long enough to get back to the surface. So they have created this blend of human and animal and technology to fight their battles for them. And we have the cyborgs of this world, although usually they're referred to as Borgs or Biobots, and a few other terms. And these Biobots can be controlled by another human being who's using virtual reality to manipulate their body. So they can be driven almost like a machine in order to make sure that they don't experience that fear. So we have super soldiers who are controlled by other human beings fighting these insane, violent animals who have destroyed the world and are still trying to make it under the surface to kill what's left of humanity. So the ultimate goal for the human beings is to destroy what's left of the wreckers, who are slowly starving to death on the surface. And the wreckers are just trying to get down to kill what's left and hunt what's left. So our main characters, I have three. One of them is one of those super soldiers. His name is Bass. He is a gentle giant, really sweet and complex, and I absolutely love him. I love all of my characters though. And then we also have Minerva, who is a geneticist who doesn't know what her science is being used for. And so she's one of the people living in kind of the upper tier, the upper class, because she is intelligent and useful for this government. And then our final character is Cowell, who is a thief and an outlaw. He's a tech wizard, so he used to work in tech, but then he helped Bass escape from the government, and now he and Bass are on the run. And eventually they hook up with Minerva. Minerva makes a huge mistake and gets the government back on the heels of these two characters, Cowell and Bass, and the story kind of kicks off from there. So that's the beginning of Malfunction, and each book kind of takes us a little bit deeper into this story. Connection is the final book in the trilogy, and I am so excited to finish out the story, but I'm going to be very, very sad to leave these characters in particular behind in this world in general. So like I said, I like to define this book as a biopunk or a cyberpunk because the focus is on the interaction between the human beings and the technology, whether that be the genetics or the technology which controls the biobots. I really hope you guys will consider picking it up. If you haven't looked around the channel yet, go ahead and do that. You'll be able to find a free audiobook of a short story, Topside, which follows a battle taking place on the surface between some biobots and some of these aliens. Really enjoyed that, and it's a short listen. You can get through it in a little bit less than an hour. Also, make sure and head over to my website. You can find a whole bunch of extras there, character art, quotes, freebies, so you can find some free fiction, including Topside on ebook, and you can sign up for my newsletter where you can read Revelation, which is one of the prequel novellas, for free. So be sure to check that out. I hope you guys will subscribe and hang out to see where this is going. And if you have any questions that you want to ask me, either about the trilogy or about science fiction and writing science fiction in general, I'd love to answer them for you. Go ahead and drop them in the comments or send me a message and I will add them to the list. So keep an eye on my channel for more short videos about this trilogy in the future.